My name is Elsie Simeon. I'm the project manager for Good Pella Solar Good Pella business, which is a top piecing version of Good Oceans Good business, which is, and I work for, it's implemented by UNDP Papua New Guinea.
Thank you. So my name is Vineil Narayan. I am the project manager for UNDP's Blue Economy portfolio, under which I also manage the Investing in Coral Reef and Blue Economy project. Thank you. So, shall we start?
Yeah. So let me get your name correct.
Vineil.
Vineil.
Yes.
Vineil. My apologies for that. So I understand the investing in blue economy and coral reef is similar in terms of how the program is running.
Yeah.
We also joined program with UNCDF like yourself. I was wondering what areas, what's the challenges, which you implement in Fiji, the challenges of, progressing this program?
Sure. No, thank you. It's a great question. I think one of the key things that we really came up with in terms of a challenge from the get-go was the fact that there is a very underdeveloped pipeline of blue economy projects, and partly because of the fact that the definition of blue economy is a little bit more vague, I guess, in the Pacific, when everything of ours kind of falls within the blue economy space, right? When you're surrounded kind of by the ocean. So one of the key things one of the challenges was to be able to find what we call bankable projects. So projects that are not only going to be receiving grants, but also able to tap into other financing facilities. So really projects that can go life beyond grants, right? And so that was one of the key things that we were able to do to circumvent that challenge was the fact that we established a Blue Accelerator grant scheme and a sort of business incubator and innovation grant scheme that really helped us to identify good pipeline of projects that we are now supporting through the project a little bit more. So that was one. I have like two more. So the second one was around the fact that, multiple agencies working together, particularly UN agencies, hasn't always been the modus operandi. So, we were figuring things out, kind of building the plane as it flew.
Yeah.
Given the fact that the Fiji project or program was one of the first in the GFCR portfolio as well. And thirdly, the fact that, we're expected to showcase leveraging through the project.
That's right.
And it's easier said than done, especially in
Oh, I can relate to that.
in countries where the financial, like ours, with financial sector may not be as modern as
That's right.
appropriate as it should be, right?
Yeah.
And so really it was difficult for us to find local investment partners, particularly banks. But we were lucky enough to be able to find the services of the Fiji Development Bank. But yeah, those were the three key challenges. But what about you?
Yeah, thank you so much for that. I can relate to the challenges you just outlined. And also, you pointed out, I agree, the blue economy concept. For our program in PNG, it was one of the pilot programs to demonstrate the proof of the National Oceans Policy that Papua New Guinea recently launched in maybe less than 5 years ago, 2020, I guess. And so the blue economy concept is a new concept in PNG, as you rightfully highlighted for Fiji. So one of the approaches we took was after the inception, we had to do a lot of community engagement, do a lot of awareness, right down to the community level, in order to see, because what we were looking for were businesses that were not necessarily registered, but who had the potential for us to support, and they could scale up. PNG has its own unique challenges. It's assumed that the rest of the world is connected to AI and electronic banking and all these facilities. It's not so really at most isolated parts of Papua New Guinea, where it's usually cash-based, and people not necessarily have access to internet banking or FPOS or cards. So, we took the approach as doing a lot of community entry to talk about, firstly, them to understand the concept of blue economy. In terms of challenges, well, that's just part of the challenge. But, like Rodrigo rightfully put yesterday, my technical advisor, that hundreds of challenges we could outline. But one, leveraging, finance options. Banks are not familiar, and PNG is a high risk when it comes to financing. So, and also looking at other like bonds or levies or payment of ecosystem services. Those are all talks and they're part of the national biodiversity
Thanks.
framework and NBSEP, I guess. But putting it into reality is a challenge as well. So we are yet working through that. We leverage this through trying to tie the program into our exit strategy approach of the accelerator into the biodiversity climate fund. So identifying businesses that are scale up is also an issue. It's not straightforward as it is. We had to do hands-on through the accelerator. That means holding hands and running with the businesses. Most of them do know how to do business manage, but not in a formal way in terms of bookkeepings and, managing your accounts and, understanding the formal way of doing business. So we had to tailor our program, the training through KPMG, which we've consulted as the implementing partner to run the accelerator program. I guess one of the biggest thing I would like to see is through the accelerator, we've developed a 5-year sensitive plan. And ideally, that is supposed to be adopted by businesses or whoever in the blue economy space to, in a way, see that they've promoted gender in that in their operation, to show that when you're there recruiting, there's certain percentage to be women or in the leadership space or who can manage or make decisions on the finances or manage the businesses. So that needs to be demonstrated as well, or adopted. It's a working document with KPNG, and I hope before the program ends, we would see how this can work, applying it to maybe with Mama Bank now that UNCDF has established a facility or working on the products to tie maybe one of the options to see how we can demonstrate achieving gender considerations to tie that as well as one of the criteria. But the other challenge is 3 years is very short.
Yes.
Disbursement of grants through the UNDP approach administratively is also a challenge. UNDP procurement process and programmatic process is very tedious and lengthy as well. So the delays in moving things and the challenges of, from administrative to getting on the plane and being in the community on the ground and guiding them through needs a lot of time as well. So it's a pity it's 3 years. Feedback from the provincial government that we've worked with the Western Britain and the community, they've seen that they think it's a tangible and a impact program. Unfortunately, 3 years you cannot. It's very short to see how the impact, for us to measure the impact, I guess.
Yes, especially ecological impact.
That's
take
right.
a longer time.
The monitoring of it, getting communities to be trained to a level. Like now, me understanding how Mehmet is working, so I could trickle that down in training we've done training with the provincial interns on monitoring, but understanding it at this now with this mission and training would be better for us to run all the training tied to the community level. So unfortunately, three years to do a joint program is and challenge.
Absolutely.
I guess.
I think the part around also managing the fact that the GFCR has got good but comprehensive indicators that need to mainstream ESG standards into upcoming businesses or businesses that are already there. But the point is, it's not easy to get that done. So there's a lot of work involved in really translating these ESG
I guess from GSCR, the donors' perspective standpoint as well, that there's a lot of improvement that they it's like hands-on, they're learning as they go as well. So yeah.
I think one of the another challenge that sort of comes to mind rather, was the fact that, when you identify businesses that are supposedly fitting into the blue economy space, broader sort of blue economy agenda, they may not necessarily have direct reef positive impacts.
That's right.
So a lot of our projects may be slipping away because of that. And so there's, as you've mentioned, 3 years is not enough to be able to find like a really good reef positive business. And so maybe, future programming, in my suggestion could be, that the GFCR sort of work goes into pipeline creation from the beginning.
Yeah, maybe at least 1 or 2 years spending to do that.
I think that phased approach would be good. For Fiji being the first mover, we didn't have a phased approach. I know that with the new approach that GFCR has, it's phased approach to financing, but I think like pipeline creation and ESG incorporation, particularly alignment to the GFCR standards,
That's right.
is one that needs a lot of handholding from the beginning before we think about anything else, particularly in countries like ours that you really have to go through a journey to get the business successful.
That's
showing
right.
reef positive implications, right?
That comes down to the accelerator approach, which is very good. I find that like very a good approach or model to be used when it comes to community level, or our way of doing things. But it takes a lot of time and energy, like you said. But it helps communities to understand. English is not our second language, so if you take enrolling and you're explaining hands-on mentor session, like one-to-one session, pre-accelerator training, which KPNG ladies have done in PNG have done a extremely very good job. In the likes of Naomi, who's joined them recently, but Kalinga, Baliki, Rachel, they've been with us from the day one, walking into communities with us and doing hands-on training, and not just with the businesses, but we have a network of Women in Blue Business Network, which we've connected them to a platform of like a social media platform where they communicate, and they also receiving training. 3 districts or 3 in Kimber for financial literacy, grants proposal, how to do those, market assessment, analysis, projection. This is done to basically prepare them for the loan guarantee facility that
the Mama Bank.
Yes.
Oh, I see.
So
Okay.
reaching out to women, not just the businesses, but a bigger audience.
That's very similar to what we are doing now with
That's
FTB, Fiji Development Bank, where a lot of the preparatory work goes in through the project or the program. We kind of gift wrap the projects, make sure that the business plans, financial models, ESG, you name it, sort of the preparatory works is all set up and done before we hand over the project to the Fiji Development Bank for investment. And I think what's important right now is the ability for us to make sure that whatever projects we incubate within the project, within our project, with a pipeline of projects, is actually fit for purpose, is actually reducing the risk when we go to the banks. Because if the first set or cohort of projects that we hand over to the banks fail, it just sets a very bad precedence for other projects going down the line, right?
Yeah.
And so I think the work that we are doing as a project is extremely important, particularly now when we're bringing in financial institutions that play in very high-risk areas. And so we need to make sure we minimize the risk.
That's right, mitigating of the risk. So learning from challenges of grants, giving grants, and there's issues that arise within the community. Thank you to the provincial government, we work closely with the SEPA, Conservation and Environment Protection Authority, the Marine team, Bernard Suruman and Yvonne Teo, the team, as well as the provincial team, Desmond Bagileo, who's the head of the Environment and Climate Change in Western Uganda team as well. So in terms of the dispute, they mitigate. Basically, in our society, the communities, their line and channel of things is through the government.
Yeah.
UNDP is considered an outsider. So
Right.
using that mechanism of trying to mitigate grievances is effective. And we've come up with solution where communities have agreed. So maybe lessons learned to be documented for future GFCR, because this one's a pipeline, I guess.
Correct.
They also for them.
Yeah.
And what else? I guess in terms of sustainability for me, after 3 years, because the program closes for us is June 2026. Maybe another phase GFCR could look at, or the donor would look at, is market accessibility.
Right.
We talk about the financial aspect, trying to do options of financing, alternate financing, generating income for them, tying it into conservation in the marine space. But we have an issue with them packaging their product to sell, but in order to see impact, I guess, exporting of the products outside of the national and the local context would probably see the generation of income go up.
Yeah.
But then it will involve a lot of processes like food safety. We have to meet the ISO standard and all this. But, we have technical officers from other agencies, government agencies, who can collaborate in that space if we are serious about seeing our blue economy being demonstrated as part of the seeds or the Pacific nations to, make people more being able to generate income, and same time sustainability of our environment, to make sure our children and our grandchildren can still and live off the resources. So I guess for me it's those two, and time frame.
Yeah. So one question is around, I guess, the fact that, is Mama Bank the only bank or only financial institution that you're working with, or have you thought about others, or why just Mama Bank?
I think I cannot speak for UNCDF, but I think they've vetted it through a process. They've identified, I think, I'm not sure, but not just Mama Banks. I think they have other banks that they've proposed it to, but it was vetted through their channel up to as far as New York, I guess,
Right.
to identify, and maybe they had criterias they wanted to vet through. So I cannot really understand, unless Wycliffe is here. He's from UNCDF.
So that the bank was onboarded through the UNCDF component of the
That's
program.
right. Outcome 4 of the program is UNCDF.
I see.
A portion is it's a joint program, and it was vetted through their process.
And what does UNDP do then with the grant
We
making?
are doing the accelerator approach with the startup grants, the blue grants.
I see.
So UNCDF complements it with the loan guarantee facility. And, I think the other experience that we need to really share and collaborate in that space is looking at how UNCDF, maybe from your partner agency and us, how they are putting together the loan packages and seeing what is feasible, what is like Andrew said yesterday, Dr. Andrew Rylance, the only way we can understand and better learn and move something better in the future is for us to trial it out first and see wherever our shortfalls and wherever we're better at, or to improve in that space. So
Absolutely. And I think the one last thing probably that comes to mind is the fact that, like, both our programs are structured very similarly, even though it started in different time periods of the GFCR. There's a lot of peer-to-peer learning that we could set up between the two banks. Because I assume that the Mama Bank, in one sense or the other, is a development bank when you look at it.
Yes.
By mandate.
That's right.
And so is the Fiji Development Bank. And so a lot of learnings can be shared between the two. And so we'll also look towards the GFCR to see how best we can facilitate that as well.
Yeah, get them together in a space, and having that conversation is better for us to learn and move what is feasible, practical, and what going forward.
Yeah. particularly around the gender sensitization aspects of
That's
cross-cutting
right.
issues.
That's right.
I think that peer-to-peer learning definitely would go a long way.
Yeah.
So with that said, I'm keen to learn a little bit more down the line.
Yes,
We'll talk more.
yeah, we'll talk more. Now that we've established getting to meet each other in this platform,
Yes.
we can, talk more
Yeah.
in that space and see.
It's funny, how eloquently Elsie speaks, because I initially thought that she was from an NGO, an advocate speaking so well. So I'm so proud that you're a fellow UNDP staff.
I was trained by UNDP. I was trained by UNDP to do community engagement. So
Amazing.
yeah,
So good
credit to
stuff.
UNDP PNG.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you
Elsie.
so much.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you.